Why is it that when someone walks away from us, our first instinct is to chase after them, to plead, to prove our worth? That desperate urgency that takes over when she says it's over. That feeling that if you could just find the right words, make the perfect gesture, she'd see what she's giving up. But what if I told you that begging for another chance is exactly what's pushing her further away? Think about it. When was the last time someone desperately trying to convince you of something actually changed your mind? When someone's pleading with you, aren't you more focused on escaping the uncomfortable situation than reconsidering your decision? You're here because something broke. A relationship that mattered to you ended, and the pain of that loss has you scrambling to fix it at any cost. I understand that desperation, that feeling that your happiness now depends entirely on this one person choosing to come back. But that desperation is precisely what's sabotaging any chance you might have. When you beg for another chance, you're not showing love. You're showing fear. You're communicating that you don't believe you're worthy without her validation. And if you don't believe in your own worth, why should she? The hard truth is that no one is attracted to desperation. No one feels drawn to someone who has placed them on such a high pedestal that they have forgotten to stand tall themselves. Your desperate attempts aren't pulling her back, they're pushing her away, confirming the decision she already made. I want you to pause and really feel that. Let it sink in. The very thing you think is showing how much you care is actually reinforcing why she left. So what do you do instead? How do you navigate this impossible situation where doing nothing feels like giving up, but doing something only seems to make it worse? The answer lies in a complete reversal of your approach. It requires something that might feel counterintuitive right now. You need to stop chasing and start rebuilding. First, you need to accept the reality of the situation. The relationship, as it existed, is over. That doesn't mean there's no hope for a future connection, but the dynamic you had before has ended. Acceptance isn't the same as giving up. It's creating a foundation of reality to build upon rather than living in denial. Second, you need to implement a period of complete distance. Some call this no contact, but I prefer to think of it as creating space for healing and growth. This isn't a manipulative tactic to make her miss you, although that may happen naturally. This is about giving yourself the room to rediscover who you are when you're not desperately trying to save a relationship. During this period, which should last at least 30 days and sometimes longer, you don't reach out. You don't check her social media. You don't send those late-night texts that you'll regret in the morning. You create a clear boundary that you commit to respecting. This will be one of the hardest things you've ever done. Every cell in your body will fight against it. Your mind will create scenarios where just one message could change everything. It will tell you that if you don't reach out, she'll forget about you entirely. These are lies your fear is telling you. The truth is that your absence will speak volumes more than your desperate presence ever could. But this time apart isn't just about creating distance. It's about reconnecting with yourself. When was the last time you focused entirely on your own growth rather than the relationship? When did you last pursue your passions without considering how they might affect someone else's perception of you? This is where the real transformation begins. This is where you remember that you were a complete person before this relationship, and you can be a complete person again. This doesn't mean you didn't love her or that the relationship wasn't important. It means that your value as a human being was never dependent on her recognition of it. So what does this look like in practice? It means recommitting to physical health. Your body and mind are connected. When you strengthen one, you strengthen the other. Start moving your body daily, even if it's just a walk around the neighborhood. Pay attention to what you're eating. Get enough sleep. These basic self-care practices ground you in the present moment and build resilience. It means reconnecting with friends and family who energize you, the people who knew you before this relationship and recognized your worth independently of it, the ones who won't let you romanticize what wasn't working or demonize her for leaving, the ones who will hold space for your pain without letting you drown in it. It means rediscovering old passions or finding new ones. What did you love to do that maybe got set aside during the relationship? What have you always wanted to try but never made time for? Passion is attractive. Purpose is attractive. A life fully lived draws people in. It means working on the actual issues that contributed to the relationship's end. This is the hardest part, but also the most important. Was there a pattern of neediness or emotional dependence? Were there communication issues that left both of you feeling misunderstood? Did you lose yourself in the relationship, becoming a shadow of who you really are? Be brutally honest with yourself here. This isn't about placing blame or punishing yourself. It's about genuine growth, the kind that will serve you whether this particular relationship is rekindled or not. as you focus on rebuilding yourself, something remarkable begins to happen. The desperate energy that was pushing her away disappears. The constant reminders of what wasn't working fade. And in that space, curiosity can emerge. She may begin to wonder about you, about what's changed, about why the person who couldn't stop texting is suddenly living a full life without her. This isn't manipulation, it's the natural consequence of becoming the best version of yourself. And here's where many get it wrong. The goal isn't to make her regret leaving so that she'll come back. The goal is to become someone who doesn't need her to come back to be okay. Because the truth is, she may not come back, and you need to be prepared for that possibility. But even if she doesn't, you'll be in a far better position than you were when you were begging for another chance. You'll have rediscovered your worth outside of her validation. You'll have built a life that fulfills you on your own terms. And if she does reach out, you'll be approaching any potential reconnection from a position of wholeness rather than lack. You won't be trying to extract validation or security from her. You'll be two complete people choosing each other rather than needing each other. And that's the only foundation on which a healthy relationship can be built. Remember that her decision to leave wasn't made in a moment. It built over time through countless interactions and experiences. Her potential decision to reconnect won't happen in a moment either. It will come through observing consistent changes over time, so be patient with the process. Don't measure progress by whether she's back in your life. Measure it by how complete you feel with or without her presence. Now, there may come a point where contact is re-established. Maybe she reaches out, or maybe, after sufficient time has passed, you decide to reach out in a way that respects the boundaries that have been set. If and when that happens, approach it with openness, but not expectation. Share the changes you've made without trying to convince her of anything. Listen more than you speak. Be genuinely curious about her experience rather than trying to manage her perception of you. Let the conversation flow naturally without forcing it toward reconciliation. If there's interest on her part, take things slowly. Rebuilding trust takes time. Jumping back into the same relationship dynamic would only set you up for the same outcome. You're not trying to restart what was, you're creating space for something new to potentially emerge. And if there isn't interest on her part, accept that with grace. Thank her for the honesty, wish her well, and continue on the path of growth you've already begun. Because here's the most important truth of all. The work you're doing isn't actually about her. It's about becoming the person you're capable of being. It's about building a life so fulfilling that anyone would be lucky to be part of it, but no one is necessary for its completion. The greatest paradox in all of this is that it's only when you truly accept that she might never come back that you create the conditions where she might want to. It's only when you're okay with the relationship being over that you develop the strength that makes reconciliation possible. So stop begging, stop chasing, stop putting your life on hold while you wait for someone else to determine your worth. Start rebuilding, start growing, start creating a life that you're excited to live, with or without her in it. That shift, from desperation to self-actualization, is what will either lead her to regret leaving or lead you to thank her for the push you needed to become who you were always meant to be. Either way, you win. And that's the power of stopping the begging and starting the becoming.